So we read today the next verse. Canto 4, chapter 23, text 19. Archir nama maharangi tatpatnya nugatatpanam sukumarya tadarhacha yatpatvyam sparshanam buha. Translation. The queen, the wife of Prithu Maharaj, whose name was Archie, followed her husband into the forest. Since she was a queen, her body was very delicate. Although she did not deserve to live in the forest, she voluntarily touched her lotus feet to the ground. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Because Prithu Maharaj's wife was the queen and also a daughter of a king, she never experienced walking on the ground. For queens used to never come out of the palace. They certainly never went to the forest and tolerated all the difficulties of living in the wilderness. In Vedic civilization, there are hundreds of similar examples of such renunciation on the part of queens and dedication to the husband. The goddess of fortune, Mother Sita, followed her husband Ramachandra when he went to the forest. Lord Ramachandra went to the forest in compliance with the order of his father, Maharaj Dasaratha. But Mother Sita was not so ordered. Nonetheless, she voluntarily accepted the path of her husband. Similarly, Gandhari, the wife of King Dhritarashtra, also followed her husband into the forest. Being the wives of great personalities like Prithu, Lord Ramachandra, and Dhritarashtra, these were ideal chaste women. Such queens also instructed the general people by showing them how to become a chaste wife and follow the husband in every stage of life. When the husband is king, she sits beside him as the queen, and when he goes to the forest, she also follows, despite having to tolerate all kinds of difficulties in living in the forest. Therefore, it is said here, Atat Arha, that although she did not want to touch her feet to the ground, she nonetheless accepted all difficulties when she went to the forest with her husband. Sometimes people say, oh yeah, she's a big lady, she can do whatever she likes. But here we read, and in the verse it says, since she was a queen, her body was very delicate. Although she did not deserve to live in the forest, she voluntarily touched her lotus feet to the ground. And what Prabhupada is explaining, in Vedic civilization there are hundreds of similar examples of such renunciation. The goddess of fortune, Mother Sita, followed her husband Ramachandra. What happened to Ramachandra?
He was bound to go to forest, exile.
He was sent to exile. His father Dasaratha had many wives. One is mother of 2 children. Yeah. That's why we have 4 kids but 3 moms. Huh? Yeah. So those are the principal wives of King Dasaratha. So the mother of Bharat didn't want Ram to become king. She wanted Bharat to become king. So because she had a boom, she had a special thing that he did for Dasaratha. She saved him once from the forest. She saved, and one day she asked, because of bad advice from servants, one day she asked, make my son send Ram to the forest. So now we find that King Dasaratha had to send his eldest son to the forest because the wife is asking, and he had promised. At that time, people promised, people fulfilled, not like today that they promise but don't mean nothing. Huh? So King Dasaratha said, I'll do. But he died of sadness, really, because of what he's been asked to do. But he had to do. So Lord Ram, he said, go to the forest. Yeah, no problem, I go. So he went to the forest. Now, Sita, his wife, also went to the forest. Now, why the goddess of fortune have to go and live in the forest under a tree, sleeping in the grass, eating wild berries. Why? Who can say? Please.
To prove that she's chaste and also to show to the world how to be.
To prove that she's chaste and to show the world how a lady, chaste lady, should behave in this world. Now, there is we were reading, we see yesterday, day before yesterday, that devotional service that does not respect the smritis only superficially resembles devotional service, but in reality falls under the category of atheism, because it's going against the injunctions of the shrutis or the smritis. So here is the smriti. I'm going to read in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is mentioned Manu Smriti. He says, actually, a woman should be given protection at every stage of life. She should be given protection by the father in her younger days, by the husband in her youth, and by the grown-up sons in her old age. This is proper social behavior according to the Manu Smriti. So Manu Smriti says that a woman should always be with the father. If she's not with the father, she should be with her husband. If she's not with her husband, she must be with her eldest son. So there isn't any moment in the life of a woman that she is not under the supervision of a man. There are three men who are the official custodians: the father, the husband, and the eldest son. There is many issues arising from here. We might develop them as we have the lecture. Because, for instance, it is saying here that the lady must be always under the protection of her husband. So it happened that, for instance, Queen Kunti was married to Pandu, and Pandu had passed away. You know who's Pandu? Yeah? The father of the 5 Pandavas. So the Pandavas, also they were sent to exile, to the forest. So Queen Kunti is the queen of the entire world. She could stay in the palace. Why she didn't? Because Manu Smriti says, and remember, devotional service that doesn't respect the Smritis is atheism. These ladies are not atheistic. These ladies are pure devotees of God. So they don't follow atheism. They follow Manu Smriti. So Manu Smriti says that the lady must be under her husband, under her father, or under her eldest son. So she had no, her father, because she is very old now, the husband had died as well. So she was under the custody of her sons. So what happened? The sons had to be sent to the forest. So what she do? She stay in the palace? No. She goes to the forest to live in the grass, to eat wild fruit. Because Manu Smriti described that. Manu Smriti described that a lady should always be under the supervision of father, husband, or child, eldest son. So we have Sita, in the case of Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra is sent to the forest. Go and sleep in the grass. For 13 years, I don't know. 13 years, I think. 14 years. Go and live in the forest. Now his wife is the goddess of fortune, the queen of the planet. She don't have to go and sleep on the grass. Yeah? Now here Archie. Archie is the wife of the king of the planet. The king of the planet. Her feet have never touched the floor because when she is going to walk, she walks in a palanquin. But now her husband is going to the forest. So Manu Smriti described that the woman should always be under the supervision of her father, husband, or eldest son. So if husband goes to the forest, the wife goes to the forest. Never mind if she's goddess of fortune, never mind if she is the wife of the king of the world. Husband goes to the forest, she goes to the forest. Why? Because they follow Manu Smriti. Why? Because if you do devotional service that disrespects the Smritis, what you are practicing is atheism. So, these are pure devotees of God. They come especially to do a special pastime. Still they respect the Smritis, because devotional service must respect the word of God. Devotional service that goes against the word of God is not devotional service and create disturbance in society. Yeah? So, I think another interesting element from this quote from Manusmriti Bhagavad Gita is that it says that the lady should be under the custody of her husband, the father, husband, or eldest son. So sometimes when we're doing classes, some people ask, well, what about if we don't have a son, we only have a daughter? No? Because you marry, you have your wife, you have some children, and some people have sons, some people have daughters. But I was actually looking through the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I was looking, and there is hundreds upon hundreds of the lineage of the Kshatras is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. From the sun god, all the way down, from the moon god, all the way down, because Lord Ram comes from sun and Lord Krishna comes from moon. All the lineage of the Kshatras. And everyone has a son. Every single one has son. No? And another king has son, he becomes king, and he has son, and he becomes king, and he has son, and he becomes king. He has son, and he becomes king, and then he has a son, and he becomes... So how is it that every king has a son? Or why should they have a son? Well, it says here in the scriptures that when the man goes into sannyas, he had to leave his wife under the custody of his son. So he must have son. What's the Sanskrit word for son? Putra. What's the meaning of putra? Tra is deliverer, like mantra. Mantra means manas, tra, deliverance. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's a mind deliverer. Mantra. So what is putra? Is deliverer. He delivers the family from hell called Putra. Yeah? And there is another word that putra sometimes means child, but in the Sanskrit a little variation makes it mean something else. Sometimes in language it says, so if the child is not devotee, then it says it was just urine. When, huh?
That is mutra.
Mutra, that's the word, no? Mutra, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So, again, we're reading here, because Prithu Maharaj's wife was the king and also daughter of a king. She never experienced walking on the ground, for queens used to never come out of the palace. So these subjects are very, very interesting, because society is becoming very confused. So more and more devotees, I mean people in general, but also devotees, and we should know better, they don't know what is proper behavior, what is proper conduct. No? It says here, the queen, it's not that the queen was not qualified, she was very highly qualified. And she was qualified in all areas, knowledge, beauty, fame, and even when she walked out, she would be taken in palanquin. But for instance, today, in today's culture, they tell us that women have always been abused. Always. Since man was monkey, then he became man, and originally women and men used to hunt dinosaurs, or not dinosaurs, but animals. No? And eventually man took control and started dominating women and sent them in the kitchen and abused them for the next 2,000 years or 6,000 years. These theories are in the books. Materialist people are writing these things. All of it is untrue. We read here, the wife of King Prithu, her feet had never touched the ground. So this is a woman that she gets carried everywhere she goes. So honored she is. Yeah? Because the wife of the king. And we read, for instance, when Devaki married